First it was fires, now get ready for flash floods. That's the warning. And
much of the UK is tonight awaiting severe thunderstorms which are predicted to sweep the country. This map from the Met Office shows just how widespread the warnings are, blanketing most of the UK, as you can see. But the storms will not be enough to end the drought, though. There are also warnings of a danger to life from flash flooding because the ground in many places is just too dry and too hard to absorb any monsoon-like downpour. Some parts of Scotland and the southwest of England have already experienced localised flooding, as Geraint Vincent reports.
In this summer of extremes, storms arrived over the northern parts of the UK and lightning flashed across Scottish skies. And in the southwest, floods came this morning. After days of unbroken sunshine here in Truro, suddenly rainwater filled the roads. And in the places where they're still waiting for the rain, they're still dealing with the harmful effects of the heat. This was the scene of another grass fire in East London.
The first week in August in 2021 we dealt with 42 grassland fires. That same week in 2022 we dealt with 340, so an eightfold increase in the numbers of fires that we were dealing with. So that gives you a sense of the challenge that we faced.
On livestock farms in the south of England, cattle make their way across barren fields to get to the green hay that's supposed to feed them through the winter, but which has been put out early this year.
So the plant is actually dying, but the cob isn't quite ready.
On her farm, Catherine grows corn to feed her cows in the winter, but this summer's sun has killed much of the crop before it's ready for harvest.
My grandfather and father bought the farm in the 60s, and we've always had livestock on the farm, so we've always grown our own crops, but I haven't seen it. I've never seen it this bad in my lifetime in 30 years. This is a severe drought, as you can see. And it's going to take probably more than a year's usual rainfall to get back to the levels that they were at.
Even if thunderstorms do come, it's not necessarily great news for farmers, and that's because the ground here is so dry, it's not absorbing water. So storm rain that falls here, well, most of it would run straight off to the lower ground. And that's also a bit of a flood risk. And those floods, when and if they come, might be fast and fierce, but it will be drought that leaves the deepest scars on this land this summer. Geraint Vincent, ITV News.
Our weather presenter Becky Manton is in Faversham in Kent for us tonight. We've heard rain is on the way, so is this drought likely to be short-lived then?
Well, unfortunately, and in a word, no. And that's because it would really take weeks and weeks of steady rain rather than those thunderstorms to really start to rectify the problem, because it's just been so dry. Now, there is going to be that steady rain, or what we would call frontal rain, further north. But here in the south, in the worst hit areas, it's thunderstorms that are on the cards. Now, why do we get these thunderstorms after a heat wave, what we would call a thundery breakdown? Well, it's because the air here is still so hot and humid. That creates a very unstable environment, one in which thunderstorms and heavy showers can form very readily. All that heat rising from the ground gives these sort of skyscraper-like shower clouds high in the sky. And when we do get those thunderstorms or very heavy bursts of rain, they can be absolutely torrential. So they will be helping the rivers and the reservoirs, not so much for growers though, but at least now we are moving into an atmosphere where at least rain is a possibility.
Our top story this evening is that after all this heat and dry weather, you would think that, well, rain would be welcome. But now there are warnings that actually, because the ground is so baked, that actually the water might hit that and there could be flash flooding, particularly on lower ground like the underground. Well, anyway, we can go now to Sally Williams, our weather correspondent, of course. Sally, you know, we might think that actually all this rain would now be welcomed. I know you're going to forecast some thunderstorms later, but actually that's not the case, is it?
No, Duncan, ideally what you want is slow drizzle, prolonged, that falls into the ground, absorbed by the ground slowly. But what we're probably going to get over the next few days is torrential downpours that fall very quickly in a short amount of time. And there's a really good video, quite simple but good video, that's been done by the University of Reading, which compares the absorption of wet grass versus normal summer grass versus post-heat wave. And we can take a look at that video now. So if we play it now, you can see the wet grass is on the left, in the middle you've got the normal summer grass, and on the right you've got the post-heat wave grass. And the wet grass is absorbing that water really quickly. The summer grass is taking a little bit longer, but it's still going into the ground. But the post-heat wave grass, nothing's being absorbed at all. It's effectively acting like concrete. And here in London, in our concrete jungle, we know just what happens when we get these torrential downpours in a short amount of time. We can be unlucky and we can get trouble with surface water, and at worst we can get flash floods. So there is a warning in place from the Met Office for the next 3 days until Wednesday. It's a yellow warning. It might not affect everyone. They are hit and miss, these showers. Some people will stay dry, but some could get some pretty big amounts of rain, as I said, in a short amount of time.
First tonight, as the extreme heat draws to an end, thunderstorms are forecast across London. And now the Mayor has warned of possible floods. It comes after the capital basked in the hottest weekend of the year. This summer has seen record temperatures and a record number of grass fires, as our political editor Tim Donovan explains.
Job not quite done, still smouldering this morning. More than 2 days after fire swept across this common in Leytonstone in East London. Several hectares of scrub and woodland destroyed, the cause not yet established, but among the incidents which pushed firefighters to the limit in the capital. 200 grass fires over the weekend, 10 times more than the same time last year. And a warning today, just because the rain is coming, please still be careful.
We're really urging people not to be complacent. Actually, they've been really helpful over the course of the last 6 to 8 weeks. We need to see that continue. The ground still remains very, very dry. It's going to take a significant amount of rainfall to actually really bring the Greenland back. So in the meantime, we just need to make sure that people are continuing to be sensible. Yes, enjoy the nice weather while it's here, but they just need to think about and moderate their behaviour so that it takes that pressure off the emergency services.
And so from fires to possible flash floods. But with cloud bursts imminent and the ground so hard, where will the water go? This video from the University of Reading shows clearly enough what happens at regular times, and on the right, the problem we could have now. It was bad enough when storms hit a year ago. Has much changed?
We're doing what we can to be prepared. That includes, I've written to those homes which are basement homes to make sure they're insured, they know what the insurance details are, they think about having a grab bag ready, they know how to contact the flood line, they check their websites of their councils on a regular basis. The fire service are now going to pivot from putting out fires on commons to helping during the flash flooding.
Some people flooded last year are still not back in their homes. There were about 400 basement flats affected in Westminster alone, and many aren't eligible for the special government flood insurance scheme.
The reason for that is because the scheme excludes flats and houses divided into more than 3 flats. They're considered to be commercial property. But in reality, of course, that's how we live in central London. A typical terraced house is divided into 4, 5 or 6 flats. And this could be solved with a single stroke of the government minister's pen.
For now, perhaps just the shortest of respites. One challenge over, but another soon to begin. Tim Donovan, BBC London.